Hello, my name's Sally Lunt and today we're going to look at the 5 times table. If you can already count in 2s and 10s, then this is the perfect next step for you. When we're counting in 5s, we can generate the numbers by thinking in the same way as we do for the 2s and the 10 times table. So the first number in the 5 times table is found by working out the answer to 1 times 5. And hopefully you'll know that 1 times 5 means one lot of 5, so the answer there is just 5. And if I add my first lot of 5 onto my number line, you can see that gets me to 5. The second number in my 2 times table, well, I find that by working out the answer to 2 times 5. And 2 times 5, that means 2 lots of 5, so that's equal to 5, add 5. 2 lots of 5, that makes 10 altogether. If I add my second lot of 5 onto my number line, you can see that gets me to 10. And then the third number in my 5 times table, well, that's found by working out the answer to 3 times 5. So that means 3 lots of 5, so 5, add 5, add 5. 3 lots of 5, getting us to 15. If we put our third lot of 5 onto the number line, you can see that takes us up to 15. Fourth number, and we find that by working out 4 times 5. And that means 4 lots of 5, so 5, add 5, add 5, add 5. 4 lots of 5, and that gets us to 20. If I add that onto my number line, you can see my fourth lot of 5 brings us up to 20. And then 5 lots of 5, or 5 times 5, fifth number, that means 5, add 5, add 5, add 5, add 5. 5 lots of 5 added together, and that gets us to 25. And then we can think about that added onto our number line. That gets us to fifth lot of 5, 25. And then for the moment, we'll just consider one more. So the sixth number, we find that by doing 6 times 5. So that's the same as 6 lots of 5. So 5, add 5, add 5, add 5, add 5, add 5. That's 6 lots of 5. And that gets us to 30. And we'll add on that last lot of 5 there. And that gets us to 30 on our number line too. Okay, so I've got a little bit of a challenge for you now, or rather Maureen has. I wonder, can you colour in all the numbers that are in the 5 times table all the way up to 100? So I've got my number grid here. Don't worry if you haven't got one. You could just write the numbers down on a piece of paper that you think are in the 5 times table. It will work just as well. Okay, let's do the first couple together. So remember the one lot of 5, the first number in our 5 times table, well, that's just 5. And then 2 lots of 5, we count on 5 more from that position, and that gets us to 10. And you can see here, if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's the first one. And from there, we count on 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's getting us to 10. Okay, I wonder, can you, a little bit like Cuthbert, Cuthbert's having a think here, can you have a think about the answers? So pause the video here, have a go yourself, and in a minute we'll have a look at the answers. Okay, how have you got on? Are you ready to have a look at the results? So let's have a look. All the numbers that you should have either written down or coloured in on your number grid, these are they. So you can see there, I've got some numbers coloured in red, and I've got some numbers coloured in blue. And I wonder, can you see any patterns here? Is there anything you notice about all the numbers that we've coloured in? Have a little think. You might want to pause for a moment because Maureen is about to tell us what she thinks. Okay, what's Maureen got to say? So Maureen is saying all the numbers in the 5 times table, they either end with a 5 or they end with a 0. And that's absolutely right, isn't it? All the numbers in red are ending in a 5 and all the numbers in blue are ending in 0. And actually, it's true. If you carry on generating numbers in the 5 times table, you can go on and on forever and ever. That's pretty amazing in itself, actually. They will always either end in a 5 or they'll end in a 0. And I wonder, can you tell me anything more about those numbers? I wonder, let's have a look. Cuthbert's just about to tell me something. What's Cuthbert got to say? All the numbers that end in 5, so those shaded in red, they are odd numbers, and that's right, because odd numbers either end in a 1, a 3, a 5, a 7, or a 9. So all those ending in a 5 are indeed odd. What about the other numbers ending in blue? What would we say about those? And here's Betty. What does Betty think? So Betty says the numbers ending in 0 are even. And again, absolutely right. Because what happens here is even numbers end in a 2, a 4, a 6, an 8, or a 0. So that's right, all those numbers in blue in the 5 times table, they are indeed even. And actually, you might notice then this pattern. Look, the numbers in the 5 times table alternate between odd and even. Let's take a closer look at that. So the first number in the 5 times table is 5, and 5 is odd. Then the next number is 10, and 10 is even. Then we go to 15, well, that's odd. 20, that's even. 25 is odd. 30 is even. And again, that pattern goes on and on forever and ever and ever. Okay, so let's then have a look. Now, I have listed here the first 12 numbers in our 5 times table. And one really important thing to be doing with your times table is to learn the results if you possibly can. It's really, really important. It makes a big difference when you're doing any sort of maths or number work if you know your times tables. And we already talked about the first 6 here, and we looked at how they were generated. And all the other numbers are generated, all the other numbers in the times table are generated in the same way. So, for example, the 7th number, 7 times 5, that's 7 lots of 5 being added together is what that really means. We get to 35. And then we get to 8 times 5, well, that's 8 lots of 5, that gets us to 40. Do you notice, look, we have an odd number ending in 5, then the even number ending in 0. 9 lots of 5, 9 times 5, 45, odd number. 10 lots of 5, 50, even number ending in 0. 11 lots of 5 is 55, 12 lots of 5 is 60. Okay, and we've got Maureen here. Maureen's just got something really important to say, which I have probably already said. Don't forget to memorise those results. Do your best to remember those results. Okay, and we're just going to have a look. There's a little bit more in terms of patterns I think we could talk about. Maureen says, odd multiples of 5 end in 5. And let's have a think about what that means. Numbers in the 5 times table are called multiples of 5. That's an important word that we use in maths. All the numbers in the 5 times table are multiples of 5. Okay, and if you have numbers in the 10 times table, we call them multiples of 10. Numbers in the 2 times table, multiples of 2. So it's an important word. But the odd multiples of 5 end in 5. Let's have a look at that. So 1 times 5. 1 is odd, and the answer to 1 times 5 ends in a 5. 3 times 5. 3 is odd, so it's an odd multiple of 5, and it ends in a 5. 5 times 5, well, 5 is odd, and the answer to 5 times 5 ends in a 5. 7 times 5, well, 7 is odd, and it ends in a 5. 9 times 5, 9 is odd, and it ends with a 5. And then 11, well, 11 is odd, and the answer ends with a 5. And in addition to the odd multiples ending in 5, I wonder if you can guess what's coming next. Probably did, didn't you? The even numbers, or the even multiples of 5, end in a 0. So let's have a look at that. So 2 times 5, well, 2 is even, and 2 lots of 5 ends with a 0. 4 times 5, well, 4 is even, and the answer ends with a 0. 6 is even, and the answer ends with a 0. 8 lots of 5, well, 8 is even, and it ends with a 0. 10 lots of 5, well, 10 is even, it ends with a 0. And then 12 lots of 5, or 12 is even, and it ends with a 0. Okay, so now I have got a little challenge for you. This is your turn to have a go at answering some questions. And so the first lot of questions, can you count in 5s to work out the answer? Okay, so you're going to work out, for example, 8 lots of 5. Can you work out what's 8 lots of 5 worth, for example? And in the second set of questions, those 5, 6, 7, 8 on the screen, well, they're sort of working backwards questions. So we have to think about what's the missing number. So something times 5 makes 10. So what you have to think about is how many lots of 5 is it that's making 10? I've got some advice here. So Cuthbert says, remember, take your time and remember the patterns. There's quite a few patterns. So we know that numbers in the 5 times table either end in a 5 or a 0. So check that your answer fits that. And also we just looked at, didn't we, that the numbers alternate odd, even, odd, even, odd, even. And odd multiples of 5 end in a 5. And even multiples of 5 end in a 0. Okay, so if you pause the video here for a moment, you can have a go at answering these questions, and then we can have a look in a moment at how you've got on. So I'm going to pause that video now, okay? Okay, shall we have a look at how you've got on? So 8 times 5, well, the answer to that is 40. And then 3 times 5, answer that's 15. 11 times 5, let's have a look, we get 55. And 7 times 5, that's 35. Okay, let's have a look at the next lot then, the missing numbers. Something times 5 makes 10. Well, that is 2 times 5 makes 10. And then something times 5 makes 45. Oh, we've got the answer there, that's 9. And then something times 5 is making 30. Let's have a look, that is the answer of 6. And then something times 5 makes 60. Let's have a look. The answer there is 12. Did you get those ones all right? Okay, so I've got another little challenge for you. And I want to know, are these numbers, the numbers that I've put here on the screen, are they in the 5 times table? And you probably don't need a reminder of this, but just in case, let's remember that the numbers in the 5 times table always end in a 5 or a 0. So all we have to look at when we're looking to see if a number is in the 5 times table, we just have to look at that end number. Okay, so if you pause the video now, have a go, and then we'll look at the answers in a moment. Okay, how have you got on? Are you ready to have a look at the answers? Let's have a look. So 37, is that in the 5 times table? It's not, because it ends with a 7. And then 65, is that one? Well, that's a yes, isn't it? Because it ends with a 5. And then 591, is that in the 5 times table? It's a big number, but we can work it out, can't we? It's a no, because it doesn't end with a 5 or a 0. 140, that is a yes, because it ends in a 0. 12, well, that's a no, because it doesn't end with a 0 or a 5. And then 49, that's a no as well, for the same reason. It doesn't end with a 0 or a 5. And then this is a huge number, 3,235. It would be tough to count up to that one in the 5 times table. It would take a very long time. Do we know whether it's in the 5 times table just by looking at it? And the answer is yes, because it ends with a 5. And then the last one, 148, is that in the 5 times table? And of course, you'll be an expert by now, and the answer is no, isn't it? It doesn't end with a 5 or 0, so no, it doesn't. And we are just about at the end of the video now, but I have got one last little thing for you to have a look at on your own. So if you have a look at the 5 and the 10 times table, I wonder what you notice. And you might want to spend a little bit of time really thinking about this, okay? But there is a really definite pattern between the 5 and the 10s. And I wonder, if you wanted, you could email me and let me know what you have spotted about the 5 and the 10 times table. And if you want to do that, if you visit my website, www.cuthbertthecroc.co.uk, you will find a way of contacting me to let me know what the pattern is. Okay, so thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Thanks, bye.